All right, thanks for staying tuned. Welcome back to The Verdict here on Channels Television, the nation's news leader. And we're getting reports from all across. And now, we thanked our guests in the last segments, and we got some new guests. And of course, we still expect to have other little tidbit segments before this rounds up this segment. We're being joined at this point from our Abuja studios by Georgina Dapopo, the Inter-Party Advisory Council National Secretary. Thank you very much for joining us. I acknowledge the fact that you always tell us you are the politician in the group, and therefore there are some questions that it is not in your interest to answer. And then here in our Lagos studios, thank you very much. And here in our Lagos studios, we have Buki Femi Ajala, who, of course, is into technology, and she's a youth development expert as well. Thank you very much for being our guest today.
Yeah, good evening.
Now, let me start with you, Georgina. Now the Coalition Center has been opened. The National Coalition Center in Abuja has been opened. Coalition is expected to begin, culminating in the final announcement of the national election result. That's talking about the presidential one. At the level of what is going on at the states, since the elections were conducted yesterday and even the ones that were conducted today, are you satisfied with what you have seen and heard?
By and large, I'll say yes, even though, of course, as expected, there were some hiccups. We don't have a perfect system yet. But generally, yes, we were, except, of course, for the violence recorded in the South-South region. That wasn't something, anybody should be happy about. So we are not happy about that. And we condemn it as IPAC. We condemn the violence. We condemn the deaths of Nigerians, especially those serving the country, the ad hoc staff, the INEC ad hoc staff. That was quite a sad story. The young people that almost that lost their lives in Rivers State and Bayelsa State. So that's a major setback for us, and we're not happy about that. But by and large, of course, we had some incidences of card readers not working, and some people, the card readers didn't recognize their name, but their biometrics were recognized, but still they were not allowed to vote, which shouldn't have been the case. That is also a source of concern for us. But by and large, we're satisfied so far.
Where you had incidences of the card reader not working or malfunctioning, how was that resolved?
There's an incident, I can't remember what state now, and they weren't allowed to vote. I don't know what happened. I didn't get the report on time, so we couldn't follow up on that. And other states, other regions, they had eventually the cadres there working, and they had to extend the election beyond the 2 o'clock time for those centers.
Yeah, but beyond that, in terms of coalition, because I think you were part of the panel on the day we discussed this, and we said, yes, voting is one thing, we concentrate a lot on voting, but the credibility of the process actually comes to question when it is time to do the counting, after the voting has ended. So at this point now, we are in that stage. How is it going from your viewpoint?
Well, the counting was done at the polling units. At least the reports we got, most of the counting happened at the polling units. So Nigerians have their own records, and they were supposed to paste the result sheet at that polling unit. Although there was one case I got from Delta State where the INEC staff said it wasn't going to count or post the results. And I tried to reach out to INEC to see how we could resolve that. I couldn't get to the end of that anyway. But those are already out there. The result sheets are already out there. The INEC result sheets signed by the agents are supposed to be posted. And with that, we're able to at least get those results to the situation rooms and know exactly what those votes are. And for me, I'm a bit concerned that the coalition had to be extended till tomorrow because the results are not in yet. Because there's so much tension palpable tension in the land, and having to extend it, Nigerians and our conspiracy theories, a lot of people will start already questioning the process because they feel this will give them time for the results to be manipulated. But I think that may not be the case, because if the INEC report sheets, result sheets are already in the polling units, that can be changed. It's already there. There's photo evidence, there's physical evidence with the agent, so that can be changed. And I'm hoping, along with every other concerned Nigerian, that we don't have crisis from this collation process.
Ms. Femi Ajala, let me let you weigh in on it. Do you see it that way?
I see it as from a different perspective entirely. I mean, looking at when we started voting to where we are now, I have great concerns about that. But from now that the National Collation Center is open, and looking at when Prof was giving the address and then telling us all the points and all that, they looked organized to me. So I give it to them. I give it to them there. But from when we started voting to the counting of at the polling booth, I seem to have a lot of
What are your concerns?
Well, I believe that where we are now, we should not have an excuse leadership. Because as a leader, you've been given an assignment, you've been given a responsibility. Whatever it takes for you to do it, you must get it done. You must have, well, where we come from, we call performance appraisal, performance indices. What are they? And if you do not fall in line, then you can't come back and give me excuses. For instance, the main excuse is logistics, and I'm wondering, for goodness sake, why would we say logistics? We had 4 years to plan, 4 good years to plan. A lot of things should have been done in place. I know that quite a lot of people have been conversing they've been talking about project managers. We have quite a lot of good project managers in here. I want to believe they have some in INEC, but did they do it effectively such that they know that voting starts 8 o'clock? For instance, in my own polling vote, I was there 7:30. Ariko. Okay. I was there 7:30, and they did not come in until 8:55. And I timed them. The first vote was done 10:19. I was the second on my line. And of course, it was about 5 minutes. 5 minutes I was done with my voting. But I'm looking at it that, why must we? Actually, I thought it was even my own polling booth that was just 8:15 until I got home and I started watching channels, and I found out that, I mean, everybody was just saying, in fact, TBS was, I mean, for me, I was a bit concerned that, oh my God, I can talk about we that were off Lagos, but what about Lagos? And we're talking about the roads that are free. And we're talking about planning. I know a lot of people have talked about planning. I talked about strategy. I am interested in what went wrong and how did you even plan it? Because for you to say you want to move from what you call it, where you're going to collect your boxes, to individual polling booths, you will have factored in the time. You cannot say you want to get to a place by 8 and you're leaving where you want to collect the boxes by 7:55. It's not done. You should leave very early. You should have factored in the time. You should have factored in other things that could happen, such that voters are coming in and the table is set. Not that voters are there and they are setting the table. It's not done. It's not tenable for now.
But since we're looking forward to collation now,
yes.
What do you hope to see?
Based on what I saw today, I see a little bit of organization. And I don't think such concerns will come. I don't think so until we start getting the results from the collating officers, and then we are getting various remarks or rejections and things like that from the polling booth, then we can say, something is wrong somewhere.
You don't think that bringing the results from all the states, there might be a problem? Like you talked about it, you can't come into a place, people are coming in at 8 o'clock to vote, and you're coming in at 8:55. Meanwhile, the chairman of INEC has said they were going to meet by 11 a.m. I believe
11 a.m. tomorrow
to start collation.
Yeah.
So do you think all those results would have come in by that 11 a.m. based on what you saw?
No. Obviously, it would not. I don't expect all the results to come in. I don't, because based on what I saw today, I was even amazed that, well, let me just say that it's my eyes that are, that are deceiving me. I saw the collating center, and I saw them, they're still using calculator, and I'm wondering, in this day and age, why are they using calculator in this day and age?
What should they?
I mean, at least they're using calculator.
At least they're using calculator.
That's it. It's a manual process. And I'm saying that, why must we do that now?
Well,
we should be technology driven.
No, the response we've been
sake.
getting whenever we ask that question is there needs to be legislation factored into it.
I agree.
And then that will happen.
Yes, I agree. And that is why I think it was Tochukwu who said that if we have to drive this, then maybe INEC or whoever who is in charge must begin to get those laws signed in. That's just it.
Ahead of that.
Ahead of that.
Now, Georgina, coming back to you, some of the people that one has spoken to and has asked, why does it appear as if when we come to the legal bit, we sometimes have obstacles at the level of putting in place even these laws? They take so long to process. I mean, if we talk about the Electoral Amendment Act or bill, which was supposed to have been signed, but which the president said would be represented after the elections, it took so long to wind its way through even the National Assembly itself. Now that comes to you, the politicians. And one of you that I've spoken to said something to the effect that nobody will change a system that brought him or her to power. If that is so, how do we then get around this? Because we keep talking about improvements.
Well, that is a very tough word. I don't think it's right to give a blanket conclusion that nobody would change the system and brought them in. Because if I remember clearly, Goodluck Jonathan signed the Electoral Amendment Bill in 2015, a couple of days to the election itself. So
and they will argue that he lost.
I think the first time that it was presented to the president, he had enough time to actually have signed, at least it was more than 6 months to the election. And a lot of things, basically a lot of things goes into presenting a bill. There has to be public hearings, and they have to get stakeholders coming to bring in their own input to the bill before it finally gets to the final stage, and then it gets it goes through the first, second, and third reading at the National Assembly. They have a joint hearing before it gets to the president. It's a long process, no doubt, because these are laws that should, it determines our future. So it's a serious business. We should take quite a process and have everybody's voice on it, everybody's input on it. But I don't think it's right, it's correct to issue a blanket conclusion that nobody will change the process. But that is there. That element is there, no doubt, because we always have, out of every 12 disciples, there's always someone that will be the betrayer. There are some people that are selfish, no doubt about that. But by and large, I think most Nigerians, I mean, the Yaga law, for instance, we have people having to go and sit down, the not too young to run bill. They have to go and sit down, occupy the National Assembly, and Nigerians are becoming more aware, more involved in the process. So getting them to pass the bill shouldn't take as long. Getting them to pass the bill will not only be the interest of those that the bill will benefit, but the generality of Nigerians.
Well, but I interjected by saying the example you gave of Dr. Goodluck Jonathan signing the amended bill. The same politicians we're talking about would argue that he signed it and then went on and lost the election.
Yeah, but today he's being sung as a hero of democracy. So I think that's a good example. Like, I know the guest you had that just left talked about institutionalism of these things. That has made him a hero of democracy. And I mean, then he wasn't a hero. Everybody was shutting him down. Some people still think he was foolish to have done that. But history has, I mean, has made him a hero, as it were. So that is an example that will help to guide future engagements in this regard, because it's not just, it becomes more clear that it's not just about, not just about your personal interest, it's about the interest of the generality. That is why you're even a leader in the first place. That was why you were elected in the first place, to protect the interest of the people. So if we have people and examples like this being lauded, it could help to build up these institutions and help to build up the process and make it more patriotic and more beneficial to the Nigerian people.
Well, given that is the scenario, then, Mrs. Ajala, I wonder then that as now, okay, the collating is now to begin.
Yeah.
Whatever problems we had with the process up until collating, we now have to focus on that.
Yes.
And there is ward collation, there is local government collation, there's state collation, before we now come to the place you described as seemingly very well organized. And if there's going to be any tampering, it will probably be at below those levels. The 13 steps that the INEC chairman outlined, does that give you confidence that it might be a bit difficult to do any tampering?
Yeah, it does. It gives me a little bit of confidence, and so let's try it out.
When you say try it out, that doesn't talk about much confidence, does
I don't
it?
think the steps are any different from the steps that were taken in 2015.
Yes, I mean,
are they not the same steps, though?
they are the same steps, but now we're talking about different people handling it. You know,
and you were talking of 19 parties then, you're talking of 91 now.
Yeah.
73 of whom are on the presidential ballot.
Yeah, so that's it. But like I said, it gives me a level of confidence that it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, let me take you away from the coalition first and look at the general thing. You said something about INEC having some level of organization, that they look very organized, but in terms of like implementation, it's not there.
Yeah,
That's what you implied.
I'm talking about now that coalition has started.
Okay, so let's see this.
It looks as if
there is, in this entire process, there is INEC, the umpire.
Yeah.
There is the government. It was no rather
the
put that.
stakeholders.
There's the government, the midwife. There is the people, and in the people you have the electorate, you have the politicians. In all of this, the blame has been on INEC. Didn't do this. You talked about they didn't bring the materials in time. You talked about they're not in the fields. They are not very organized in time management, no project management and all. Where do the people come in here? The role of the citizens, the role of the politicians, the electorate and the politician, and then the midwife. How do they all tie?
Now, my understanding is the fact that INEC is the one sitting, is the one that has the sole responsibility to bring about election which will be fair and credible. And then it now has other stakeholders that are in the system. They're in the system. So for me, like I said, no excuse leadership. These people, you should have come up with your policies, your procedures, how they tie in. You should have looked at it, how they tie in, and get them to understand why you are saying, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. And also get them to fine-tune their processes to fit your own system, such that by the time they put in all their own inputs, it does not affect you. So for instance, we're talking about security. I was wondering that, what was the security plan? Fine, yes, people are saying arm's length, you have 2 armed people, and then, of course, in the voting area, you'll have policemen without the arm and all that. But then, with that, we are seeing incidences that I mean, it's been shown, Okota, Akpo, and so many other things that have happened. And I'm wondering that, what is the security plan? So the security plan will actually be done by the security personnel and experts in that sphere.
I think there was a plan, because
yes.
you even saw the IG
yes.
briefing. But
so if there is a plan, right, then how tight is that plan?
Okay, we'll think about how tight the
yes.
plan is when we come back from this quick break.